YouTube, what is up? James, MTG Biggie here, and today we're going to talk about the Modern Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan. The results are in, and everybody lost their mind after the tournament. I'll go through the decks really quickly, starting from the bottom of the top 8 here. We had 7 different archetypes in the top 8. So we had 5-Color Humans by Andrea Mengucci. Super sweet deck. I really like it. I plan on trying it out at some point or another. I was kind of rooting for this all along because I'm very biased and I love Thalia decks, and I was hoping to see Thalia win a Pro Tour. Then we have a Traverse Shadow is what they're calling it. It's Jund Death Shadow with a splash of white for cards like Lingering Souls. So that deck has been around. It kind of turned to the Grixis Death Shadow deck eventually, but the Jund version's still around, hanging around. And then we have Reduke on Abzan, which is pretty cool to see. The Black-Green X mid-range decks have kind of been on a downtick, with all the big mana decks and stuff like that kind of coming out, and them notoriously having bad matchups against decks like Tron. It's cool to see like a dude that really masters this sort of a deck play it to a huge success and make the top 8. Then we have 5-Color Humans once again. Slightly different from the other list, but still super sweet. Kessig Malcontents is a card that gives that deck a lot of reach. Then we have Black-Red Hollow One, which is an insane deck. It's super silly, and I kind of like it. Sort of very random and kind of a newcomer to the format. It abuses cards like Burning Inquiry and Faithless Looting and Goblin Lore to cast Hollow One for like free. So it can on turn 1 or 2 play like a Faithless Looting or a Goblin Lore and just dump a bunch of 4/4s onto the battlefield. It's super cool. It's a really neat deck. I kind of dig it. And it's cool to see a deck that nobody had on their radar of top 8. So I'm talking a lot about how cool Modern is because I'm going to get into the everybody losing their mind part of things once I'm done with these deck lists. So we have Blue-Red Pyromancer, which is like a Blue-Red tempo deck. Like Blue-Red Delver minus the Delver. Instead it has Thing in the Ice and Snaps and Young Pyromancer. So this is just efficient cantrips and red cards, and it wins by eventually either burning your opponent out with like Snapcaster Bolt or attacking with a bunch of tokens and a Thing in the Ice. Then we have Mardu Pyromancer, Jerry Thompson, another deck that I don't think anybody knew about. A deck that's playing 4 Bedlam Reveler, which just spiked to like $15 each or something like that. And Young Pyromancer also. So it's just like a black-red mid-range deck with Lingering Souls and just some value cards and Kolaghan's Command. And then we have the reason everybody is losing their damn minds about Modern, and that is Luis Salvato won the whole tournament with Lantern Control. If you don't know this deck, it's a very obnoxious deck to play against. It kind of feels bad. It's a deck that locks your opponent out with a combination of cards like Codex Shredder and Lantern of Insight that manipulate your opponent's library so they can't draw good cards. Meanwhile, you're taking the good cards out of their hand with like Inquisition and Thoughtseize, and you eventually lock them out from attacking with Ensnaring Bridge, and then you protect yourself with Witchbane Orb. It's an annoying deck, but as soon as the tournament was over, I was on Facebook, I saw on Twitter. By the way, this channel now has an official Twitter, at MTGBiggie. Absolutely follow me there, tweet at me. I will absolutely converse with all of you about Magic. But just a reminder, I'll link it down below. But yeah, everybody on Twitter was losing their damn mind and calling for things to be banned in Modern just because Lantern Control wins one tournament. People were calling for cards like Ancient Stirrings to be banned because it allows the deck to dig through itself very quick to find the pieces of the lock combo. People were calling for War of Invention, which is basically a crap bulk rare from Aether Revolt that happens to do one thing really well in one deck ever in the existence of Magic. It allows the deck to tutor for its pieces. And then people were calling for Ensnaring Bridge, a card that, while being annoying and absolutely powerful, is in a total of like 1 or 2 decks in the entire format. I think Scred Red plays Ensnaring Bridge, and this deck. So people were losing their minds. And to those people, I would like to say, relax, breathe. It'll be okay. Modern is still an amazing format, probably the most accessible and versatile and very high skill rewarding and also really fun format in all of Magic. My favorite format's Legacy, but Modern is probably the better technical format just because it's so wide open. You could do anything at any given time and do it well and win tournaments and win games and have a lot of fun at it. So, one person I saw in a Facebook group I had a brief interaction with, they were saying that something needs to be banned because this deck feels bad. And my reply to that, and my reply to the whole argument of feels bad in Magic the Gathering, is Wizards of the Coast has spent the last 15 or so years working diligently to eliminate every single possible thing in the game that feels bad. I took a large break from the game. I quit for 12 years. I stopped playing around 2003, 2004 maybe. And when I came back to the game, it had totally changed. The whole mechanics of it were still the same, but I left a game that had blue cards that were really, really powerful and really, really efficient and really good at what they did. Counterspell, Daze, Force of Will, Mana Drain was a card that I played with often back in the day. Even cards like a regular Force Spike, which is not a super overpowered card, but it's powerful in its own right. And then we had cards like Brainstorm and really good, well put together, efficient spells. Lightning Bolt is a card that used to be in Standard when I played back in the day, and the removal was of a different level. Swords to Plowshares was a card. Oath of Druids is a card that I abused a lot in Magic back in the day. Cards that said draw 2, draw 3, that were instant speed and reasonably costed were in existence. I leave the game for some 12 years, and because it feels bad to play a big monster or a creature or this really cool like dragon or whatever and have somebody pay 2 mana and counter target spell, because that feels bad, Wizards has spent a decade like making the answers to things much more narrow, much less efficient, much more mana to pay for. So what we have now is, because of the feel bads and all that sort of stuff, Wizards has put a lot of effort into changing the game to feel good. So now people get to do stuff in Standard that's absolutely busted, and we have 9 cards banned in a year and a half time, because they got rid of the good answers because the answers feel bad. People just want to have their toys and play with them. And my argument is, people saying that Lantern feels bad don't really know what feels bad feels like. Because I've been the dude that's like, oh, you're casting what? Cool, we're going to counterspell that. Okay, I'm going to Force of Will that. Okay, we're going to Daze that. Or like turn 1 Dark Ritual, Mind Twist. That feels bad. Having a Codex Shredder put your top card in your graveyard and getting thought seized a couple times and not being able to attack, that's not real feels bad. And if Wizards continues to do stuff to get rid of everything that doesn't feel incredibly fun all the time and isn't happy rainbows and sunshine, if there is no feels bad, then what that does to the game is it takes away the moments that feel good. Because you know what feels... You know what's better than just winning an average boring game of Magic? Beating a deck like this. And I think the value of the feels good of being able to sideboard and play effectively around these things and have the right answers at the right time because you built your deck properly and winning against decks that feel bad, I think the amount of feels good you get from that outweighs the bad feels. At least that's just my opinion. But either way, people were freaking out. I hope that they don't make any changes to Modern or take any cards away. I don't have any interest in playing this deck, but it would feel shitty if people that decided, like, wow, this deck won a Pro Tour, I want to check that out, decided to try to play it, and then something got banned. They've done that before. I've been burned before with Splinter Twin, so I don't want that to happen to other folks. Either way, guys, let me know what you think down below. Is it the end of the world? Is Modern broken? Is Lantern the boogeyman of the format because it won absolutely just one big tournament? I don't think so. I'm going to continue to play Modern as much as possible and have as much fun as possible doing it. And if I start running into a lot more Lantern, I'm just going to sideboard a lot more effectively. Luckily, I play Death and Taxes, and I never leave home without 4 Stony Silences. That being said, I look forward to playing against this deck more. I like the challenge. That's where I look at it from. If you guys disagree, let me know down below. If Modern is terrible and it feels bad and it's the worst format, let me know down below. I look forward to hearing from you guys again soon. As always, hit up my Twitter, give me a follow there, MTGBiggie, and I also have a Facebook group that's sort of slowly coming along, and you guys are welcome to go ahead and like that page on Facebook and give me a holler there. And if you haven't yet, click the bell notification button on my page, then you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. Either way, guys, I appreciate everything very much, and get out there and play some Modern. It'll be good for you. You'll enjoy it, I promise. But that said, I will talk to you guys again very soon.